The afternoon sun blazed over a small American town, its golden heat rippling across cracked sidewalks and dusty yards. On the corner near a gas station, a little wooden table stood with a crooked cardboard sign that read in big shaky letters, "Buy my lemonade, it's to help my sick mommy." Beside it, Lila, a thin 8-year-old girl with tangled brown hair tied in a messy ponytail, carefully poured lemonade into paper cups. Her small hands trembled slightly, the heat and hunger making her dizzy, but she forced a smile for every passerby. Most people just kept walking. Some smiled kindly but didn't stop. Others dropped a coin and moved on without a word. Still, Lila whispered the same hopeful plea to everyone. "Please, sir, it's for my mommy. She's real sick." Inside their trailer down the road, her mother lay weak on an old mattress, coughing, too sick to move. Lila had promised her she'd find a way to buy medicine, even if she had to sell lemonade every day until the money came. Then the air suddenly began to vibrate with a deep growling sound. It started faint like distant thunder crank and grew louder, closer, heavier. Within moments, 10 roaring motorcycles turned the corner, chrome shining like fire under the sun. People glanced nervously as the bikes surrounded the small lemonade stand. The rumbling stopped, replaced by the clicking of boots and the low hum of cooling engines. The jackets read, "Steelhawks Motorcycle Club." They were big tattooed men, faces carved by life and dust, shadows of danger and discipline around them. Lila froze. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table. She whispered, I don't have much lemonade left, sir." The leader, Blaze, stepped forward. He was tall with silver strands in his beard, and eyes that looked like they had seen too much of the world. He bent slightly, reading the sign again before meeting Lila's frightened gaze. "You selling lemonade for your mama?" he asked softly. Lila nodded, her lips trembling. "She's real sick, and someone took all our money last week. I was saving it for her medicine." The words hit him hard. Blaze's jaw tightened. The air grew thick and still. Behind him, the bikers shifted uneasily, looking at each other. Even the toughest of them had kids or lost someone they couldn't save. Blaze finally said, "Someone stole from you?" Lila nodded. "Yes, sir. He took my pink jar. It had all the money me and Mommy had." Blaze rose slowly, turning to his men. His tone was low but sharp as thunder. "Boys, looks like we got a thief to find." Engines roared again, a promise in every rev. Dust rose behind them as the Steelhawks took off into town, leaving Lila standing in awe, clutching her empty jug. For the first time in weeks, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. The Steelhawks roared through the sleeping streets as the sun began to dip behind the rooftops. Their engines echoed between the narrow lanes, scattering stray dogs and drawing every eye to the storm of leather and chrome that cut through town. Blaze led them at the front, his expression carved in stone. He had seen cruelty before, but stealing from a sick woman's child? That was a kind of evil that burned deeper than the desert heat. They stopped at every corner shop, gas station and pawn shop, showing a photograph one of them had snapped of Lila's pink coin jar, the one with little yellow hearts painted all over it. A mechanic at the gas station wiped his hands on a rag and said, "I saw a guy earlier, a skinny fella, patchy beard. He tried to sell a jar just like that. Said it came from a lemonade stand near the trailer park." Blaze's eyes hardened. "Name?" "Jake Crawley," the man said quietly. "Lives behind the old Sunset Motel. Been bad news for years." The Hawks exchanged looks. Without another word, their engines growled back to life. They rode together, a thundercloud of vengeance rolling through the dying light. At the back of the Sunset Motel, behind dumpsters and shattered glass, they found him, Jake Crawley, hunched over a small campfire, counting coins into a greasy cloth. Beside him sat Lila's pink jar, half full, smeared with dirt. Blaze killed his engine first, the silence that followed heavier than steel. The rest of the gang formed a semicircle around Jake. He looked up, eyes wide, stammering, "Hey, what's this? What do y'all want?" Blaze stepped closer, boots crunching on gravel. "You took from a little girl, 8 years old, selling lemonade to save her mama." Jake's laugh came out shaky. "It's just change, man. Ain't like I robbed a bank." Blaze's tone dropped low, dangerous, steady. "You robbed hope. That's worse." 2 of the bikers moved forward, snatching the jar and spilling the coins into Blaze's rough palms. He stared at them for a long second before looking back at Jake. "You got 2 choices," Blaze said. "Leave town tonight. or we make sure you can't steal from anyone again." Jake swallowed hard, nodding so fast his head shook. He stumbled backward, tripping over trash bags as he ran into the dark. For a moment, the bikers stood silent. Then one of them, Tank, muttered, "She's getting that money back." Blaze looked at the dirty coins, so small yet so heavy with meaning. "Not like this," he said quietly. "She deserves better." He reached into his vest, pulled out a roll of bills, and dropped it into the jar. One by one, the others followed. Dozens of calloused hands, once known for breaking things, now gave, until the jar overflowed with cash. When they were done, Blaze wiped the dirt from the glass. "Tomorrow," he said, voice softer now. "We ride back." The night wind blew against the flags of their jackets as they rode away. And for once, the noise of the engines sounded like justice. The morning sun spilled softly across the quiet street. A gentle hum filled the air. Then came the sound that turned heads and drew curtains, the deep, thunderous rumble of motorcycles. The Steelhawks were back. 10 bikes glided down the road in perfect rhythm, sunlight flashing on chrome and leather. They stopped in front of the worn little trailer where Lila lived. Engines falling silent one by one. Lila looked up from her table, her face lighting with surprise. She ran forward as Blaze stepped off his bike, holding something carefully in his hand, the pink coin jar, now cleaned and tied with a small red ribbon. Her eyes widened. "Did you find the man?" she asked, her voice trembling. Blaze knelt down so he could look her in the eyes. "Yes, sweetheart," he said softly. "We found him, and we made sure he won't ever hurt anyone again." He handed her the jar. It was heavy. Lila frowned. This isn't just my money. There's too much." Blaze smiled, a small, rough-edged smile that somehow felt gentle. "It's from us," he said. "From the Hawks, for your mom's medicine, groceries, whatever she needs. You both deserve better." Lila's eyes filled with tears. She hugged him tightly, her small arms wrapping around the man's leather jacket. For a long moment, the world was quiet. Just a little girl and a biker who remembered what it felt like to lose hope. "Tell your mama she's not alone anymore," Blaze whispered. The Steelhawks got her back. That afternoon, the bikers drove Lila and her mother to the hospital. They covered every expense, medicine, tests, everything. The doctors promised her mother would recover soon. From the hallway, Blaze stood by the door, watching the woman smile weakly at her daughter. "Sir," she whispered, "why would you help us?" He looked at her kindly. "Because once someone helped me too," he said. "Guess it's my turn." Days later, Lila's lemonade stand was gone. In its place stood a new sign, hand-painted and bright. "Thank you, Steelhawks, you saved my mommy." Whenever the Hawks passed through town, they stopped there again. Lila would come running out, waving with joy and pouring lemonade for every one of them. "It's free," she'd say proudly. "For my heroes." Blaze would lift his cup, grin, and reply, "Best lemonade in America." The engines would roar once more, fading into the distance, and no longer a sound of fear, but of kindness riding through town.